Well, hello, you lovely people. I go by Hooligan, and oh yeah, we about to do some Minecraft. And the last episode, we had so much fun building what I consider to be a somewhat medieval, somewhat Nordic kingdom, city, if you will. The kingdom's not done. Why? Because we still have a castle to build for this kingdom, and that is going to go right here. We also want to build a lighthouse and a bridge, but that is not the main focus of this episode. We're going to get that done, but I think we can get it done pretty quick, because I have a whole new build I want to start, and I am so excited for it. What is up, my dudes, my peoples? First up, I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. Truly mean that, from the heart. I do. Anyways, what are we doing in this episode? Oh, well, we need to finish this kingdom here. I'm thinking I can do that pretty quick. Yeah, mainly because, well, I already gathered the resources to do it. Let me show you real quick. At bare minimum, at least once an episode, I like to show the resource grind, what it takes to actually gather enough materials to build something large or intricate. Because these resources, while it looks like I'm chopping a whole lot of trees right now and it's going to last a long time, at least one of these resources, probably more than one, will be gone by the end of this episode. And I'll have to do this all over again. Yeah, we're fully stocked on everything we need. We can get straight to building. But really quick, let me tell you about the plans I have for the rest of this episode. Finish our terraforming. Should be super easy, because we're not doing much more with this. We originally talked about wanting a road to go all the way from our original starter hamlet to the Viking town. However, doesn't make sense. No, it's a seafaring town. It doesn't need a road. It'll have a water road. Think about it like that. We need to do something with this big empty space. Yeah, I know I said it last episode too, but it's just gotta happen. I'm tired of looking at it. And over here at the Iron Keep, that also houses our iron farm. We have our map room. Now, we have not updated this map in over almost 1,500 days. Yeah, it needs a big upgrade. And that's what I want to do. Here's my theory. Our town that we just finished is right there. Castle will be right there. We've also built the zoo right here. And what we want to do is right over here is our guardian farm. And we have plans to do something with that. So we're going to be expanding this map and updating it at some point. Probably the end of the episode. And I'm betting it's going to look pretty cool. And as far as what we're going to do with that guardian farm, I'm not sure yet, but I bet the thumbnail probably spoiled it. So let's jump right into the grind. Get to building. See what kind of shenanigans we can get into. At some point I'm going to get into something. Starting things off with the castle, I am what you would call a chaos builder, and welcome to Chaos Building 101. And the first thing we do is take everything we had planned and get rid of it. That's right, throw it away. We don't need it. Now, we start just laying out just kind of basic ideas and shapes of what we want this castle to look like. And don't pay too much attention to the actual color palettes right now. They'll be changing and adjusting, as well as the roofs. I'm not sure what color roof I'm going to go with. Right now, I'm sticking with dark oak. Will it stay that way? I don't know. We're going to keep playing with stuff till it works. That's how you chaos build. And usually it works out pretty fine. Now, right now, we just want to get our base structure down. The size of the castle, what we plan on deleting, what we plan on keeping, and the shapes that we want. And we'll be breaking these shapes up with other shapes towards the end. We'll call that the detail phase. And then comes the ugly phase. And I promise you, it's going to work. It's not going to stay ugly. This is where we close everything in and decide what's going to stay, what's going to go, what walls we're going to break out and change, so on and so forth. Now, that being said, if you're expecting a fantasy style castle, that's not happening. No. So there's two types of castles in this Gothic era. There are vanity castles, built to show prestige and how wealthy and powerful the people are. And then there's castles that are built for defense and housing military. That is what we are going with. It fits the vibe of the town, and I like it. And once the details come in on this castle, just trust your dude. It's gonna look really cool. Now, right now, the shape's a little weird, especially that one big roof, but we'll be changing that. Maybe. I don't know. It might end up working. But that's how you chaos build. But yeah, it's gonna work. Just trust me. Just trust me. Well, it's starting to come together. Now keep in mind, there's no details on anything except for a little bit right here. The roofs, this, none of it has any detail yet. But you know what? I think we're ready to move our beacon to the backside because we're going to be deleting a big part of that island back there and finish this thing off. Now that it's mostly built, should be able to get through it pretty quick. Because, well, I have other things to build. And when I say other things to build, I mean a lot of things to build. Uh, we have one little adventure we want to do at some point, but just be forewarned, if you made it this far, there's going to be a lot of building. Now for the final and most important phase of any build, the detailing phase. The phase that brings everything in the build to life. Oh, that's my favorite thing to do, honestly. And I apologize in advance for all the grainy footage. Why? Because replay mod the rainstorms kept messing up all my replays. It just never stops raining. It's really, really annoying. But anyways, we still have an insane amount of stuff to build in this episode. So here's a short little music track. We're going to rock out and get this thing done. Now, we said we were going to make this work, and I think it works. I'm pretty happy with it. This little red color pop right here on this side really, really makes it, as well as this roof here. And on this side, these window details right here and these iron bars for the barracks, they really bring this part together. I think if those weren't there, this would look kind of weird. And as far as our keep entrance, we're pretty happy with it. Yeah, this tower right here definitely brings the area to life. At some point, I might add a little bit more spruce in the build, but I think it's fine for right now. Maybe in like this tower, but we're done with the castle. We're done with the castle. The interiors are not done. However, I am going to do those. I know I say that a lot, but I have a stream coming up that I want to do those interiors as well as some of the ones over here, the more special buildings. And we brought our guest friend over. Well, one, to show off the build, and two, we're going to try to use him to build this bridge. Now, I have not done anything with this dude except fly him around, so I don't really know how easy or difficult building with him is going to be. And one last note before we finish off this city and move on to other things, that lighthouse that we were going to put right over there, I don't know if I want to do it, and here's my reasoning. So, Nordic civilizations, your ancient Viking civilizations, did not use lighthouses. Some medieval civilizations did use lighthouses, and this is a weird combo of both of those. So, I don't know. One thing's for sure, the bridge has to get done. So, right back to it. I promise. There'll be other stuff we're doing. We tried to use our gas friend for this project and quickly realized that we cannot. Well, technically we can, but this is a river and I was getting tridents thrown at me, and I wouldn't think it would take more than 1 or 2 trident hits on the gas to kill it. Kind of like a balloon popping. But anyways, we're whipping up this bridge and it's going to be made completely out of tough block and spruce for the most part. Now, it's a fairly grand bridge and I think the design came out pretty cool. Nothing too crazy, honestly, but it definitely fits the vibe of the entrance to the keep, and we are getting so close to completely finishing this city. The final stretch, and we are almost done, and I am so excited for that. Oh my gosh, don't get me wrong, I've been loving building this city, but I am ready to move on. It's been a project. But anyways, we decided we want to go with a guard barracks right here instead of the church. Why? Because it makes way more sense. It's the only entrance to the castle, and you'd think it should be guarded, right? Yeah, anyways, all we have to do after this is put 2 little houses in the wealthy district. But first, we need to add a couple towers right here, and we need to decorate up the entrance to the barracks. Why? Because soldiers need a place to relax and chill too. I mean, come on, they're guarding a whole castle. Every once in a while, they need to kick back. Anyways, now as far as this last little couple houses, we don't want to go too crazy, and we want the roof to be the main focus of what makes it look grand, and that's what we do. I think it came out pretty cool. Yep. After 85 days of straight building, we took a little vacation to our little sky house up here. Well, for 2 reasons. One, so we could AFK our creeper farm down there, because we're going to need a bit of gunpowder. Two, so we could get a view of the entire completed city. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. I don't even know the actual amount of hours I have invested in that, but it's a lot. And that little area right there that was potentially going to be a lighthouse, I think we're leaving that alone for right now. But I want to go see how much gunpowder I got from this little AFK session. A shulker and a half will do us for quite a while. This has been quite a project, and it finally feels complete. Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, normally in cities like these, I like tight little corridors between the houses and buildings. However, this little area right here, being a little more open, just kind of works. And just every little area I walk through just feels lived in. Like, I can envision a bunch of NPCs living and working in these areas. It feels alive. It feels alive. And out of everything, that was the main goal that I wanted. Now, up here, right here, the tavern, this is one of the buildings that will have an interior. I'm excited to build it, actually. I like building inns and taverns. Also, speaking of inns, the inn will have an interior. The castle will have an interior. Most of these other buildings probably won't. I think the little jail cell over by the coast over here will have an interior, and the guard barracks. Every other house, probably not. But we're not doing those right now. I want to get into something else. Now we can finally move on, and we have just over 150 days before we're calling this an episode. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to get ready for the next episode. Okay, now that sounded a little weird. Now hear me out. We're not done with this episode, but we have to plan ahead. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to head over to our little kitchen, and what are we getting? Eggs. That's right, and we are going to need a whole lot more of these. Heading over to our other castle, because we need a whole bunch of iron, because we need a whole bunch of hoppers. Oh, so very much iron. Yeah, that'll do for now. Then we head over to the hole for outcast villagers, with their stupid glazed terracotta trades. You guys are dumb in here. And we whip up a little temporary egg farm. Now, I have no intentions of ever building a permanent egg farm. I have no use for it. But temporarily, I do. Alright, you guys grow up and fill up these chests. Yeah, this area is going to be noisy for a while. And well, if you didn't guess, we need all those eggs to make wither roses. Yeah, unfortunately, all them chickens, they're all going to be sacrificed to the wither. Because we have a few farms to build, and several of them require the wither roses. Now, one of them is a wither skeleton farm. And as far as mob proofing goes, every one of these chests, except like these two here, are completely full of cobblestone, which means I can turn those all into slabs. So if I find the right location, we can set up a wither skeleton farm, hopefully pretty easy. Now, are we going to build it in this episode? Probably not. But I do need to have myself a little break before I get back to the building. I want to go see if I can at least find a location. And our potion box, it's looking okay, but we can easily re-up it and top it off from the brew house. And this is why we took all that time last episode to make up all these duplicates. And besides finding an easily spawn-proofable fortress for our future farm, we also need blaze rods. So we do have a little side mission, and we might even whip up a blaze farm. Well, let's go in here and see what happens. And now it's adventure time in the nether, so we head on in. Now here's how my little break adventures go, most of the time anyways. I pick a little just area, an idea, a very simple idea, and I plant a seed in my brain, and it just grows, and it grows, and it eventually becomes something. Now, we'd said that we want to find a location for a wither skeleton farm, and we also need blaze rods. Now, the reason we want the blaze rods is we want enough ender chest to make at least 64, plus for potions and whatnot. Now, as far as those wither skeletons, we want 64 beacons, and, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. But right now, we decide, you know what, we got a decent amount of blaze rods, we're already here, let's build a farm. probably the most annoying farm that you could ever build in this stupid game. Now, it had been a while since we added a new farm to our world, and we have quite a few. Now, this one right here, like I just said a minute ago, is extremely annoying. Now, I read that if they have a light level of 12 or above, or 13 or above, that they won't spawn. So I put frog lights everywhere, and it did not help. They just kept spawning, and even with the fire resist potion, it still was so stupidly annoying. However, I will say, once it was put together, it works awesomely. Like, absolutely awesomely. I would even say flawless, but it really, really was annoying to do. Our blaze farm is done for right now. Eventually, we're going to decorate this thing and make it look awesome. It's not always just going to be a cobblestone box, because at some point, what I'm planning is I want to suspend this from the nether roof and clear out all this nether rack and decorate this up. That way, when we fly down from our nether hub, we always see is farms and one big lava lake. I'm talking about deleting and mining this entire or most of this fortress. But that's not for right now. And it works pretty dang good. Like, really good. Yeah, I think we're set up for blaze rods, well, pretty much forever. And the reason we want a full stack of beacons and a full stack of ender chests, as we come up with ideas when we're exploring or whatever, where we already know where we want to put something, we want to put down a full beacon with an ender chest and a sign, marking that as a future kingdom. That is what we want to do, because I expect this series to last a long, long time. Well, I say that, but I could die at any moment because I am very, very dumb. But if I don't, I expect it to last a long time. And that'll give us an idea of where we plan to go in the future. Now, that being said, it's time to go find us a good fortress, because this one sucks. See if we can't find the one that we can make a wither farm out of. Yep, definitely not that one. No, this one's better, but still no. I think this one right here will work nicely. Oh yeah, most of these platforms up here, they're just like single layers. So I could just delete those, slab everything else, and that's a lot of lava lake. We might be able to make this work in this episode. And I think right there will be the center of it. Let's see if we can go down and take a look. Yeah, I think this will do. I think this will do just fine. Let's get to work. First thing, we need to find our center point, which is going to be right here. And we need to mark off 128 blocks all the way around this, which to the south is right here, which is mostly lava lake that we won't have to do very much with. To the east is right here. A little bit more work, but still very, very doable. And to the north is right about here, which will probably be the most work, but still not too bad. And then to the west, which, well, it's going to be a bit of a grind too, but still, I think this fortress is our best bet. Now, I know there's other farm designs that don't require the wither roses or all this spawn proofing, but you know what? I woke up and I said, you know what I really need today, and for the next several days? To waste 28 hours of my life. Yeah, I'm not joking. I'm not joking when I say that. This takes so long. And this is the best fortress we could find. And we looked in about a 3,000 block radius around our spawn point in the nether. And this is the best one. But whatever. You know me. I start a project, I'm going to finish. Now, we are making good progress. However, our bow is like 30 unlucky shots away from being broken. And it is maxed out. I don't want that to happen. Also, I don't want to travel 2,000 blocks back through the nether to get back home to repair it. Now, in my box here, I have an anvil in the deco box. I have things I can make sticks out of. And, well, if I, unfortunately, sacrifice a strider, I can get string. I don't really want to, but I'm not traveling 2,000 blocks. And for this to work, I think I'm going to have to get me some fungus. Sorry about this, buddy. Alright, that'll work. Alright, fully repaired. let's get back to the grind. Activating speedy mode again, our current goal is to get the south and the west done. Well, one, because we're running out of cobblestone, we're going to need to go get some more here really soon, but we want a sense of accomplishment on something before we go do that. Now, while doing this, the piglin don't really pose much of a problem. The piglins with the swords occasionally do cause a threat, but more importantly, the ghasts, while not potentially dangerous to me, are so stupidly annoying. I hate them so much. Oh, every time I think I have something proofed, they blow something up, and I gotta go back and make sure I have it proofed right. It was so annoying. Ugh. And the blazes can be annoying too, but fire resist solves that. Alright, so we got most of the south and the west done. However, we are now out of cobblestone. Well, we're out of it here. We have tons of it back home. Now, we're going to need to get ourselves 3 wither skulls, because to make this farm, I have to get the wither skulls to make the farm in order to get more wither skulls. Yeah, that's just the way it is. And unfortunately, we're going to have to get these wither skulls the old-fashioned way. So we're going to get 3 wither skulls, get on the nether roof, get back home, get some more cobble, come back and finish this thing up. I really hope somebody out there is enjoying this journey, because this has taken a long time. And we already have 1. We only need 2 more. We got 1 while we were spawn-proofing. Alright, that's 2. Finally. I was down to 3 carrots. Now it's time to get on home to resupply. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do that on the nether roof. So we're looking for a block that's at Y127. That way we can glitch through it and get on the nether roof. Now, if you play Bedrock, do not do this. I don't even know if it'll work, but you won't be able to get back down. You can't build anything up here on Bedrock. But anyways, we already marked those coordinates, so we start heading home to our nether hub. And man, we got to do a whole lot of work on this. We kind of just left it alone. And for once we come through our portal and it's actually daytime. However, our chickens have done nothing. I should have put these guys in spawn chunks. But whatever, we're just going to breed them up and make a whole bunch more. We start gathering up our cobblestone so we can continue our build. And well, we hear a knock at the door and it was a zombie. Yeah, whatever. But here's the thing. A minute later, we hear another knock. Yeah. Well, I didn't like that at all, but it was easily fixed. And Snowflake, you didn't do your job, dude. Like, come on, pull your weight. Luckily, Snowflake, Dave, and Nug are all fine, which is more important than my house, honestly. Whatever, let's get back to chickens. Well, those eggs should start multiplying pretty quick. While we're waiting for that, let's do a couple things that are way overdue. Like this right here. Over at our wool farm, all we have is 16 stalls with only white wool, and they are all full. So we're gonna go change 15 of those sheep. Wait, can I not change them if they're sheared? That's fine. We'll just disable the redstone. Well, we now have 1 of each sheep in our automatic wool farm. However, I also now have over 35,000 white wool. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But I'm thinking, if I get some shepherds in here, because I need to decorate this up anyways, they could be just an emerald farm. That's a lot of chickens. I think I'm just going to AFK this for just a little bit. Alright, well, we have almost 4 boxes of eggs. Just a little under. And the ones we don't have, I think it might just be easier just to let them grow up in the end, and then breed them, and then let them grow again. Yeah, it'll save us days, as well as it's guaranteed to produce. And we should be good to go. So let's go grab all the supplies we need and get out of here. Alright, that'll work. And I think the one last stop we need to do before we head back is get ourselves some lava buckets. That way we can make some lava curtains. And we'll just grab those from our lava farm down at the bottom of the citadel. Alright, let's go. First things first, we need to go west to our stronghold. Let's get this set up. Now we just need to wait for this to empty and these guys to grow up. I'll just AFK right here. Alright, we're almost there. We just need even more babies. Here we go. Well, we are going to be short 10 wither roses. That's right, 10. Whatever. We'll just make the spawning platform a little bit smaller, and we'll make it work. We can always come back here and get more later and, well, expand it. Let's go find our coordinates and get back to this project. This right here should be our block. Alright, let's see if we get it first try. Nice. And we might as well see where a portal brings us out in the overworld. Maybe they'll take us somewhere new and cool to explore. Nope, just a cave. But not too far from the surface. Man, we'll come back and check this out later. You know, I weirdly missed my little nether project. Well, let's make us some slabs and get back to work. Alright, all the major spawn proofing is done. There's going to be some areas that we're going to have to touch up here and there when we see things spawn, because I inevitably miss some spots. But we'll just deal with that later. Now it's time for the fun part, and I do mean that literally. We got to spawn proof the actual fortress and the inside of the fortress, which means I need to do a little bit of fighting and, well, more spawn proofing. But we're almost done with this project. I promise. No, like, seriously. I promise. This isn't all we're doing. Yeah. Now, we are eager for two things. One, a waterfall of wither skeletons for us to myrtleize. And two, to finally get out of the nether and move on. Now, as we're spawn proofing the inside of this fortress, we actually get some pretty decent loot. We get several trims, we get some diamonds, and some other pretty decent stuff. But we're not here for the loot. Do we need it at all? Absolutely not. And this was actually pretty peaceful. I was pretty methodic in the way I did it, so I wasn't in too much danger, honestly, or at all. So we move on to actually spawn proofing the rest of the fortress. And this is the last bit that we really need to do. If you've never built a wither skeleton farm like this, I'm going to tell you, it is mind-numbing to something fierce. Oh yes, but when it is done, it is so freaking satisfying. But anyways, we get to the point where we can actually start building the farm. Now, this is pretty simple. We're going to be using carpets on the outside edge and, of course, wither roses in the middle. And we're going to lure everything in with a piglin. And he's just going to tease the skeletons into a drop chute. Alright, well, the farm's almost set up. Right now, only magma cubes can spawn right there. Once with the wither roses, only wither skeletons will be able to. However, I did not bring along a name tag. I do have a piglin stashed right over there. So once we get him in, it should be pretty easy. So I'm going to run home real quick, probably just off camera, grab a name tag and some gold, get him in there, and our farm's pretty much done. Just got to make the kill shoot. I went and grabbed what we needed. I'm thinking I might just be able to fly this guy right into the farm. Hey, what's up, buddy? Want to come live in a farm? Hey, let's go for a ride, bud. Alright, now what I need this dude to do is to come in here and try to get some gold. All we need now is to make a killing chamber and, well, put our wither roses down. We're done. And here's the very tiny downside. We picked a fortress that's pretty low to the lava lake, which means I'm going to have to pop some fire resist potions, go down into the lava lake, and get rid of a portion of the lava to make our kill chamber. But not a big deal. Not a big deal. Now, you guys already know what I'm doing here, so instead of talking about it, I'm going to share a little fun fact. Cobbled slabs have now taken the fourth most used spot in my statistics at 60,000 cobble slabs placed. Oh, and almost all of it was from doing this project. You heard that right. 60,000. Alright, well, we did quite a bit of extra spawn proofing, just flying around hitting the areas that we saw stuff spawning. Inevitably, we were going to miss something. And I think we've done enough, because this thing is flowing good. Let's see how much it does in 20 minutes. Almost 9 stacks of bone blocks, almost 2 stacks of coal blocks, and 30 wither skeleton skulls in 20 minutes. Oh, this is a success. This is definitely a success. Now, keep in mind, there's still a little couple caves and whatnot that still need to be proofed if I can find them. I just know there are. And it's still just working phenomenally. We might not even need to do that, honestly. Anyways, we are finally done with the nether. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to go, off camera and get, 2-3 stacks of skulls, but then we're done. Yeah, we got other stuff to do. Alright, so I had to do a little showcase. We have now killed 4,400 wither skeletons. Yeah, that number seems a little crazy. I was actually surprised when I saw it in my statistics. That's a lot. That's a lot. With almost 3 stacks of wither skulls and 2 full boxes of bone block, I'm ready to go home. I need some sunshine. I'll see you back there. Well, we're back home, but not in the sunshine. No, we're in the gross rain. But still, it feels so good to be back. I spent so much time in the nether. And, well, we only have 30 days left before we wanted to call this episode. And I really don't want to go too long on it because this is already a long episode. So I don't think we're going to get to that ocean monument build. That's probably going to be next episode. But I do want to make good on this promise, the road going over that way, and some touch-ups on the castle. Yeah. So we're still not done. Let's get to this. And we have plenty of materials, including a ridiculous amount of bone meal, to make everything look pretty. Now, time is running very, very short, so we have to get on our grind and get to work. We start off by capping off that little inn with a bunch of trees. I like to do that whenever I'm just done with the area. We add a little bridge and we start working on our roads. Now, roads are one of my favorite things to build in this game, and I got lots of different styles that I like to do, but for the general idea of most of our roads, they're just pathing and a bit of coarse dirt. And I like to border them off with various leaves, usually birch, honestly. A lot of people hate birch, but birch leaves, I think, are great. Anyways, we get this road all the way over to our zoo. We build a little bridge and just path it out, and we finally get it connected. And once again, just planting some more trees to cap off the area. Now, we left this terraforming undone for quite a while, so we had to get this finished up too. Now, back over by our cathedral, we start coming up with an idea for this big empty area, and we decide to go with farmland. But we're doing it a little different than we usually do. Normally, we make this decorative aesthetic farmland. However, while this is going to be decorative, it also serves a purpose in my brain. And what do I mean by that? We're going with medieval farmland. And, well, in medieval times, there would be multiple strips of land that would be worked by multiple families and then rotated out. So that's what we're going with, and I think it came out pretty cool. So we went with 2 wheat fields, a carrot field, and a potato field, and we'll be adding some more in too. And as far as the back end of this little big field, we decide we don't want to do anything with it. No, it's too big, so once again, cap it off with more trees because we're done with this area. Well, we are over our day limit, and we still have one more thing we want to do before we call this an episode. And unfortunately, that's not right here. So we're going to save this little area right here for the intro to the next one. But I'll tell you what it's going to be. There's going to be some small peasant farmhouses right along here, with a road, of course, and a grander house right here. We're going to raise this terrain up a little bit. And, well, this is going to be a big vineyard and then a cocoa field. And that's pretty much going to fill this area out. And with this road in, oh, it looks so much nicer. I'm not sure if I'm going to plant trees or anything up here, maybe just an occasional spruce tree, very sparsely. But as far as the last thing we want to do, we're going back to the beginning. A couple little improvements I want to make to the Nordic keep that I kind of just was thinking about while I was doing all the nether stuff. One, this roof right here, we're going to make a bigger, sharper angle. Two, this tower right here, we're going to change it a little bit. And a couple other little minor tweaks. I think it'll really make it pop. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, these are just some minor adjustments that we've been thinking about. We wanted to add a little bit of red color pop to the front tower, and we wanted to add a little bit of detail to the roof. That's it. You know, on second thought, I might need to add a little bit of detail to the foundation down there. But whatever, we're not doing that right now. We are done with this episode. This one has taken a long time. So much time in the nether. So much building. Oh, was it worth it? I think so. And the next one is our 20th episode. And you know we're going to go big. Oh, so big on that one. I already got it planned. We're definitely doing the ocean monument. We're going to be making something out of that. But I got something even bigger planned. So hope to see you there. But as far as this one goes, I'm done. I'm tired. I need to get ready for the next one. As always, peace and love, fam, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know. Yeah, absolutely. And if you didn't enjoy, still let me know. Later, dudes.